Hi folks, today's lesson is going to be on proportions. And first we need to know what a proportion is. And a proportion is two ratios that are equal. That is the definition for a proportion. Remember, a ratio is comparing two things, and we can write it three ways, and one of the ways it looks like a fraction. So a ratio of 2 to 3, that is a ratio. Now if I find another ratio that is equal to that, that creates a proportion. It's just like finding equivalent fractions. Well, how can I find a ratio that is equal to this one? Well, the same way we do equivalent ratios. We multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number. So if I take 2 times 2 and 3 times 2, multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number, I will get 4, 6. And now I can say that 2/3 equals 4/6. And that, my friends, is what we call a proportion. That is a proportion. And basically it's equivalent ratios, which look just like fractions. So they are equivalent fractions. So if I give you the ratio of 3 to 5, and I say write a proportion, write a ratio that is equivalent to that, and then write a proportion. So, well, the easy peasy way is just to multiply them both by 2. But say you're getting a little daring, and this time you want to multiply them by 3. You can do that. 5 times 3 is 15, and 3 times 3 is 9. So I've just made another ratio, but when I put them together with an equal sign in between, I have created a proportion. 3/5 equal 9/15. This is called a proportion. A proportion is equivalent ratios. All right, how about this? Are these ratios a proportion? Let's say I had 2 to 7 and 6 to 21. Are they proportional? Well, the only way they can be proportional is if they are equal. And you can find out if they're equal if you put them in simplest form. Well, let's look at 2/7. Is this in simplest form? Can I simplify it any more? And the answer is going to be no. It is definitely in simplest form. So let's rewrite that over here. That's in simplest form. What about 6/21? 6 to 21, is that in simplest form? Nope, it's not. We know our basic facts. We know that I can take 6 and I can divide both 6 and 21 by 3. 6 divided by 3 is going to give me 2. And 21, oops, wish that wouldn't do that. Let's put that 1 back and divide by 3. 21 divided by 3 is 7. Well, look at that. It's simplified to 2/7. And 2/7 definitely equals 2/7. So is 2/7 and 6/12, are they a proportion? 6/21, excuse me. Absolutely. This is a proportion. So we would have to say yes. All right. I'm going to show you another way that you can find out if ratios are a proportion. And it's really an easy peasy way. You don't have to simplify any fractions. Let's put back our 2/7 and our 6/21. Now here's the deal. If you cross multiply, if you multiply 2 times 21 and 7 times 6, if those products are equal, then it is a proportion. So you can even plug that into your calculator, or if you can do it in your head. So 7 times 6 is 42. And 21 times 2 is, look at that, 42. And since that's equal, then yes, it is a proportion. So it's usually a little easier to do when you have large numbers, and all you have to do is crisscross multiply. Okay, let's take a look at another one, and let's apply what we know. Okay, we have 8/24 and 6/20, and we want to know, are these ratios a proportion? Basically, another way of saying is, are they equal? Okay, so we get out our handy-dandy calculators, and we're going to multiply 24 times 6 and 8 times 20, and we'll see if they're equal. Now 8 times 20 we can do in our head. Think of what's 8 times 2. 8 times 2 is 16, and put the 0 back, so that's 160. Then on a calculator we can go 24 times 6. 6 times 4 is 24, carry my 2, 6 times 2 is 12. I have 144. Are they equal? No. So 8/24, or 8/24, and the ratio 6/20 are not proportional. The answer is no. If we wanted to simplify, you can find out that they also simplify. If we simplified 8/24, I divide both of them by 8, and I get 1/3. And if I take 6/20 and I simplify, I can only divide by 2, and I end up getting 3/10. And 1/3 does not equal 3/10. So again, nope. So this is simplifying over here, which I don't think is as easy as just crisscross multiplying. Okay? Okay, here are our directions. Find an equivalent ratio, then write a proportion. So here's my ratio, 5:10. And I have to find a ratio that is equal to that. And the way we do that is by multiplying the numerator and the denominator by the same number. So let's do the easy peasy way. Let's just multiply them both by 2. And I get 10/20. So that's the first thing. I found an equivalent ratio. Now I have to write a proportion. Alright, so the proportion is 5/10 equals 10/20. So there's my proportion. You can even quickly check to see, well, is it right? By doing a quick crisscross multiply. Does 10 times 10 equal 5 times 20? What's 10 times 10? 100. What's 5 times 20? 100. Check. You've done it. You found an equivalent ratio, and then you wrote a proportion. All right, actually, we did it together. So how about you do this one on your own? Okay? Let's go with, I'm going to get a different color here. How about we go with 3/4. Find an equivalent ratio, then write a proportion. Pause and go ahead and do that. Okay, well, you could have used any number. You could have multiplied by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, infinity. I'm hoping you chose easy peasy and decided to just go 2 or 3. So let's go with 2. You could have written 3 times 2 is 6, 4 times 2 is 8, and so the proportion would be 3/4 equals 6/8. You could have multiplied it. Here, let's do another one. Maybe you did 3. 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 3 is 12, so then the proportion would be 3/4 equal 9/12. Okay? No matter what number you did, as long as you multiplied the numerator and the denominator by the same, and you did it correctly, then you have created a proportion. Good job. Okay, for these 3 problems, I want you to do like it says, determine if the ratios are proportional. Okay? Remember, we did that 2 ways. We can either simplify them both or crisscross multiply. You decide which one you like and show all your work and then decide yes or no. Pause, work out all 3, and then when you're done, press play. All right, here we go. Let's take a look at number 1. I crisscross multiplied and found out that no, they are not proportional because the products were not equal. So no. Now if you try to simplify, 5/8 is already in simplest form, 7/14 simplifies to a half, so that is not a proportion. Number 2, we got yes, because 24 times 10 and 8 times 30 both equal 240. And if you were to simplify both of them, you would see they both simplify to 1/3. 5/9 and 10/18, maybe you were able to even just see this before you did it. You say, well, 5 times 2 is 10, 9 times 2 is 18. Those are equivalent fractions. They has to be a proportion. And sure enough, it is. They both simplify down to 5/9, and when we crisscross multiply, we get the same answer. Okay, so that's the lesson on ratios and proportions. We will work on this more in class tomorrow. Bring your questions if you have any. See you later. Bye.